to the Career Management Podcast for Black women, where we unapologetically help you navigate your workplace crazy. I'm your host, Felicia Ann Rose Enuha, also known as the Trill MBA. Why? Because I'm the trillest MBA you will ever know. And every week, we are going to bring you the tips, tricks, and tactics you need to survive and thrive in the workplace. So if you like our content, subscribe, like, leave comments, let us know what workplace crazy you need help with. We got you. It really doesn't have to be that hard. As you'll learn in today's episode, where we are dropping gems. Let's start the show. Thank you guys for coming back to the show. I'm so excited that you're back, and I'm going to be completely honest, y'all. I'm going through it. A lot is going on. As of the recording of this episode, we still have not launched season 8. I have recorded episodes. I am struggling to get episodes launched in the proper way, trying to find the right people to help me, all the things. And I can tell you right now, if it was not for therapy, I don't even know if I'd really be here right now. And that's just the God's honest truth. Like, it's a lot trying to be an entrepreneur for the first time, for real. It's a lot, understanding that right now in this job market, like that safety net of me going back to corporate, I intentionally on a lot of fronts destroyed it because I've been running my mouth on LinkedIn. And as we all know, as a Black woman, you can't be running your mouth willy-nilly on LinkedIn like that. I have done a lot of things to try to close the door for myself on corporate so I won't go back. But what that's caused is a space of so much unknown that I mentally didn't know I might not be ready for. And I'm just gonna keep it true. And so today I'm really excited about this because I had talked to my therapist about this, and she has agreed to come on the show and talk about all the things that we need to think about as we're going on our corporate journey and having therapy as a form of self-care to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And so today, this really is an episode that hopefully, if it resonates with you, you will have some tools and some knowledge that will help you find the right person to process all your shit and make sure that you're in a good mental space to deal with the workplace trauma, the life traumas, and all the things that happen to us. So no further ado, this is my amazing therapist based out of Houston, Texas, Shacolby Dedmond. Shacolby, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Felicia.
I should have gotten your bio, but I forgot to ask you for your bio so I can run down all your credentials and all your degrees and all the things you've done. But we're going to get into it.
Okay, good.
We're going to get into it. So tell me something before we even start with all the tactical things people need to know about therapy and being a therapist and going into therapy and getting therapy for themselves. Why did you decide this profession? Because I'm going to be honest with you. If I had to listen to me for 50 minutes, I would quit.
Okay, so 2 reasons. I think the first one's going to be kind of, every time I tell people this, they kind of look at me weird. But growing up, I had a very unwavering curiosity about serial killers. Not gonna lie, I don't know where it came from. Yeah, I see it like that. Yeah, I get that. Right.
So this is why it's easier for you to talk to me.
Stop it, please. You're not even close. Okay, you're not even close.
That's good to
touch it up. But that was one thing. So I would spend time just researching serial killers, and one of the things that I wanted to know, I'm like, why? What happened to these people to make them like that? And so I always just wanted to know the why. And also I ask a lot of questions. I always want to know the why about things. I want to know why people work the way that they work. And so that kind of led me to this. And also just being Black, like, growing up Black, therapy's for crazy people, right? Like that's what we get told, or it's not for us, it's for white people. Like we don't go to therapy. And and that was just weird to me, because I'm like, since we've touched down on this continent, like we have been going through trauma, and that trauma has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. And I think if anybody needs therapy, it's Black people. And that is why, like, I wanted to get into this field to tell people that look like me, hey, like, you can come and do therapy and you're not going to be considered crazy. In fact, it's going to be more helpful for you than not, right? So that's really why I got into therapy, so I could get other Black people to come to therapy, basically.
I love that. Do you remember your first therapist?
Yes, I do. And so a lot of times in the programs, like, they will require that you go to therapy. My program didn't, but I went anyway, because one of the things, and I think this is important, like, if you're going into a field, I think you need to know what that field looks like for yourself.
Right.
And so, I do remember my first therapist, very lovely. We did a lot of like coping skills, because I had really unmanageable anxiety. Like, I couldn't, any little thing, like, I was just set off. I didn't know why. I didn't know where that came from. And so, I remember my first therapist, very, very good, for sure.
That's cool. And I'm so happy that you became a therapist, because the American Psychology Association says that there's only about 4% of psychologists. And so that's not even including, I don't think, the licensed professional counselors and social workers and all the, I don't know, what are the things? Tell me the things.
Social work, licensed professional counselors, marriage and family counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists. There's some subgroups of counselors and therapists too, like alcohol dependency therapists, LCDCs, I think is what they're called. So, like, there's a bunch of subgroups. But like, we need more Black therapists. We need more Black male therapists as well, like, for sure.
Yes, because there's only 4% of psychologists in the U.S. are Black. And that ends up being like 7,000 something. And the Black population is like 36 million. So there's no way. There's just no way.
Yes. In fact, there's actually some programs that will target like Black individuals to come to school to do therapy. Like, that's how I got into my master's program. Okay. Because they also saw a need, like, hey, like, we don't have a lot of therapists of color. Right. Just in general, which makes sense. We were always told we weren't supposed to go to therapy. So, like, why would I be a therapist? No. But definitely we do need more. So if anybody want to be a therapist, like, holler at me. I'll give you all. In fact, I think I'm going to give y'all some tips today for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I want to talk to you about. That's my next question. If somebody decides that they want to be a therapist, because sometimes I think, the way I'll be listening to my friends sometimes, I'm like, I maybe want to be a therapist, but I think my problem is, and the reason why I'm not a coach and I'm a consultant for career advice is because I'm going to tell you what I believe is the absolute right thing you should do. And that's not what coaches and therapists do. They kind of guide you to your own self-discovery and exploration. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't have time. Like, I think I remember one time I told you, I said, can you just give me the answer? Like, what is the answer? And you're like, Felicia, there's no answer to give you. And I'm like, yes. You see I'm fucking up. Just tell me how I'm fucking up. And you were like, that's not how this works.
That, you know what? And that's a big misconception about therapy. Like, people always be like, well, don't y'all give advice? No, advice is like telling somebody what I would do, right? Like, what I would do in that situation. I cannot tell you what I would do in that situation. You have to figure that out. I'm here to, like, hold your hand and be like, give you a different perspective. Right. But definitely advice, because I'm gonna tell you now, like, if I were to give people advice in certain situations, like what I would do, some of y'all might be in jail. Okay, like, I can't tell you what I would do in that situation. Like, I'm I'm not going to tell you that. Like, we're going to go through these theories and we're going to talk about it the way that it needs to be talked about in therapy so that you can come to your own conclusion. Because I'm not going to tell you what to do. And then you call me from jail like, yeah, you got me up in here in jail, girl. Like, right. I'm calling court on you. Like, absolutely not. No. Right.
Yeah.
We're going to work professionally through the theories. So, yeah. And sometimes you're like, can you just tell me? I'm like, I can't do that. No. I can't do that.
No, because again, it's what you would do. And if you're willing to take on the risk of going to jail, that's up to you, right? Like, so, yeah. And so me as a career consultant, you know, I'm not advising people on their actual lives either. Like, I'm not telling you to divorce your husband. Like, I might tell you like, okay, let's make a plan to leave your job. And that's another thing. I never really tell people to just quit. Like, I don't, like, first of all, rule number 1, do not just up and quit. You're leaving money on the table. Don't do that. Don't do that. You got to make a plan. So I help people plan for that. But I feel like even therapists, that's not even, like, I can't help you plan for your divorce, right? Like, So what is some advice you would give people who are like, but no, I've been a good listening ear to people around me. I have a good sense of not taking on their problems. And like, I can be sympathetic, but it's not like, and that's another thing for me. I get triggered a lot. Like, the work that I do, it is triggering to me, which is why I'm in therapy. And so I know, like, to be a therapist, you need to be somebody who can hold the hand, but not carry the burden.
I was saying you're 100% on point on that. Absolutely. That's exactly what therapy is. If I were to tell someone, you know, that's going or wants to go into this field, first, make sure that your mental health is taken care of, right? I'm not saying that everybody's 100% all the time, but like, you have the tools and you're using them. You have the resources and you're using them for, you know, mental health. So making sure that your mental health is up to par before you start digging into other people's, because it can be triggering. And if you haven't figured that out, that session can be harmful for that client.
Yeah.
If you are triggered in a session because you haven't dealt with your traumas and you're a therapist. And so you definitely want to make sure your mental health is good to go before you start diving into people's things. And also being a good compartmentalizer. So like you said, you're here to be empathetic towards the person, try to understand their situation, give different perspectives, but you don't want to take that home. You don't want to leave the office with that.
No.
Because a lot of the things that you hear as a therapist, some things are just unimaginable. Like, you can't believe this person went through that. Right. And that's not something you want to hold with you. So if you're not good at compartmentalizing or leaving things where they lay, if you can't get back to yourself after that session, after your 10, 15-minute break, then therapy might not be for you. If you still running through that situation and now you irritated or you're sad or you feel annoyed, like, this might not be your field, because you're going to hear a lot of things that really nobody should have to go through. But yeah, people do go through things. And you need to be okay helping that person, and then also being okay with yourself. Yeah. And also, you already know what I'm going to say, self-care. If you don't have a good self-care routine, really, you should be doing a lot of stuff. People need to take care of their self-care. Therapists need good self-care. And therapists also need therapists. Like, make sure you got a therapist.
Right.
But going into the field, I think if you have that hunger for helping people and you really are a person that's filled with great empathy, I think that therapy would be a good field for people like that. Ja, I can see you now.
I can't be a therapist. I already know. I'd be like, girl, nuh-uh. For real? Girl, why he do that? Why you think he did that? You want me to put all black on? You want me to come over there? Yeah, see,
no.
No, I'd lose my license like the first client. Like, it wouldn't work out. It wouldn't work out for me.
Absolutely.
So listen, we're going to take a quick break, and hopefully there's an ad that will play during this break. Please watch the ad, because that's how we're going to get paid. And then we'll be right back to talk about my major depressive disorder with suicidal ideations and how that affects me with work, and some tips that Shacolby, if anybody else is going through this, can help all of us. So this is me sharing. Yay. When we get back. Hey guys, we're back. Today we're talking with my personal therapist, Shacolby Dedmond. She became my therapist when I moved to Houston during the pandemic, and she's really helped me with my perspective. And for a long time, since my 30s, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder with suicidal ideations. I have had suicide attempts. And those people who've been watching the show, they've heard me mention this or talk about it. I don't think I've actually expressed it. I think everybody has something in their back seat. And I think what's crazy is a lot of people, except for the people in my inner circle of friends and family, most people meet me, they see me, they're like, oh my God, she's la 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 la, right? And I have this, I'm the fat, happy person. That's just the persona that I have had, my whole life. And not that I'm not happy at all any time, but there's a lot of times where I'm very much inside, struggling. And right now, I think Black women are tired and there's a lot of burnout and there's a gamut. So even though they don't suffer from major depressive disorder and suicidal ideations like I do, for a lot of people, it's not that extreme, but there is, it's a spectrum of emotions and feelings that people are struggling to cope with. And so my question to you, Shacolby, is what do you tell people? Because I'm sure you work with a lot of Black professionals.
Mm-hmm. So that's generally my population is Black women. I mean, I do have other clients, but that is my specific population. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And
so based on, the work you've done and the themes that you've seen, because I felt like, you've shared with me you're not alone in how you feel about when it comes to work. What are some of the themes that you're seeing around work specifically that we need to be honest about and start really addressing for ourselves?
So we all know, for Black women, we got to do 10 times as much work just to even get recognized, validated than our counterparts. And that can be tiring. That can be exhausting for people. And so you even see it now. There's so many Black women going into, higher education, coming out, getting jobs, being entrepreneurs and things like that. And for sure, a lot of burnout and a lot of just stress and being overwhelmed because they're putting so much in, but not into themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, a lot of burnout, a lot of anxiety around being in corporate spaces because that looks different for us too, right? It looks very different for us in corporate spaces. We experience things that other people just won't experience in those spaces. And so that can be very disheartening for people, mm-hmm. right? So I do see a lot of Black women anxiety, and anxiety looks very different for us. We get called the angry Black woman. Is first of all, there's a reason, right? I'm mad for a reason. That's number one. But besides that, a lot of times anxiety shows up that way as being upset, being, irritated, and it comes off as angry when it's just anxiety and nobody has taught you how to cope or deal with that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of anxiety, a lot of just feeling like they're stuck or, I can't do better than this, or I'm not gonna be able to go anywhere because this is just too much. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned burnout. Yes. Oh my goodness. So much burnout. I have so many clients right now just ready to quit their jobs. And I'm just, hold on real quick. Hold on. Let's talk about it. Right. So corporate is tough for, I think just in general, workplaces for Black women is very, very difficult.
Yeah. I think that for me, I already operate on a level of anxiety. Like even right now, I'm like super anxious. Like things didn't go exactly as planned this morning. My hot water, right? Like I woke up to no hot water, and then I'm like outside fixing the water heater. Like it was crazy. I was just like, what is happening?
You had a lot of time before this.
Yeah, so it's just like, you know, things happen and stuff happens at work. And one thing I try to tell my consulting clients is that, hey, you're not crazy, right? Like, I think a lot of times because you are one of one or one of two in the office and you don't have any safe spaces to go to, and then you don't go talk to anybody, like you don't have a therapist, you're just sitting there by yourself with your own devices and your own stories that you're making up, and you literally can drive yourself crazy.
Yep.
And so I tell people like, hey, you're not by yourself, but you have to ask for help. And what advice do you give to Black women when it comes to like asking for help?
So I think we get that trope, right, of the strong, independent Black woman. So we feel like we have to carry everything, other people's problems, other people's emotions, feelings, negativity. And we hold on to all of that and we're carrying it through. And so of course you're overwhelmed. Of course you feel burnt out and stuff like that. And I don't know who told us that we had to do this, but you don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry all of that. And it is okay to ask for help. And I think we've talked about this. A lot of the stuff that we carry, especially as Black women, it ain't even our stuff to be carrying in the first place. So like, put it down. Put it down.
Yeah, I'll give you an example of that.
Please.
Because, so the other thing that had me delayed this morning, I was talking to a friend of mine who was dealing with some work drama, which is always interesting for me. But I was like, girl, why are you in this? Like, I know that they're trying to put you a little bit in it, or, they're gonna want you to say something, but girl, you need to put that back on them. Like, you need to stay away from this. It's not for you to carry. And the situation was around, Black stuff at work. I'll just to make it general, right? Because Juneteenth is coming up, blah blah blah, and so it's just like, don't put me in this, right? Like I'm fine. We got work to do. Let's focus on the work, right? But deep down, she wants to be honest and be like, y'all on some bullshit. And I'm like, but what does that get you?
Yeah. Is she the only Black person in the office?
Yeah, but pretty much. In this whole team and sphere of what's going on, she's the Black person. So that's why this whole thing is happening, because she's the only one. And that's why they are injecting her into this. And it's just like, I'm indifferent.
That's unfortunate.
That's the answer. I'm indifferent. Whatever you got, whatever supports the business best. That's what we should do. What best supports the business?
Absolutely. If she don't want to be in it, and that exactly right. Like, she doesn't want to be in that situation, but maybe she feels obligated, or maybe she feels like, oh, like if I don't do this, like they're gonna look at me weird. Or
well, they put her in it. So it's just like, why are you asking me? Like, I don't care. Leave me alone. But she can't.
We know why they're asking. We know exactly why.
Right. But the thing is, like, how do you, when your clients are coming to you with these kind of situations, how do you help them see a different perspective, or how do you counsel them through their thought process?
So one of the biggest things, and I always tell you this, first of all, mind your business, okay? Like, if it ain't your business, like, it's not for you. But really, I definitely like to tell people, you need boundaries. You have to, as a Black person, you need to have boundaries in the workplace, in corporate, because you're going to get tried. You just are. But you don't have to get tried more than once. You know what I'm saying? Like, set the boundary. If it's microaggression, call it out. Why would you say something like that, Susan?
Well, clutch my pearls.
Now this person has to be like, okay, I cannot talk to her any type of way. And that probably not going to happen again.
Right.
So definitely having better boundaries with your team at work. Mm-hmm. You have to teach people how to treat you. And that's how you do that, boundaries. I'm going to give you the script for the boundaries too. So if something's happening to you, right, you don't like it, go into that person and expressing what it is that they did and how it made you feel, and what your need is in response to that. So, hey, Carol, you said this and it made me feel uncomfortable. Next time you need help with something, I would prefer that you speak to me this way or you ask this way. Now, sometimes boundaries need consequences. If you got that one coworker that just takes you for the play with all the time, they continue overstepping those boundaries, then you add the consequence of, hey, Carol, you said this, it made me feel uncomfortable. Next time, I would like for you to ask me this way. If you continue to do this, this is what will happen. As direct and assertive, but respectful as possible.
So what happens if Carol starts crying?
Oh, you know what I want to say?
Say what you
should
want.
You should also start crying. If Carol starts crying, you start crying too.
Okay.
Now we're finna see which one of us is gonna win, right? But I'm like, in a therapy session, I probably wouldn't say that. But, you know, realistically, if Carol starts crying, you know, oh, okay, Carol, like at that point, once you've established your boundary, Carol crying is none of your business. Mind your business. Her crying at that point is not your business.
Yeah. I always say, oh, well, let me get you some water, because it's hard to cry and drink water at the same time. So I would be like, especially if it's in a meeting and Carol starts crying in a meeting or whatever, I'd be like, oh my God, everybody get Carol some water. Somebody get Carol some water. Because since she wants to make it about her, I'm going to make it about her. Right? And then Carol going to get this water. And then I'm going to be like, okay, I know emotions are high, guys, but we really have to focus on the business.
Let's get back on task. Okay?
Yeah.
We have to get back.
Carol, if you need to go to the restroom, go to the restroom. Or if Carol's my boss, I am definitely already had worked to build a relationship with her boss anyway. So if Carol's acting a fool with me and she's my boss, I definitely am giving you some water. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to come back and we can talk about this conversation when you calm down. Like, I'm not going to talk to you when you acting like unprofessional. And not saying that, like, there are times where our human emotions should be allowed. Like, let's say one of our coworkers died. Like, I'm going to cry. Like, that's sad. Yeah. Or let's say, a tragedy happened and it hit my heart. I'm going to cry. And I'm okay with shedding a couple of tears. But if you're crying in defense of something I've said, that's unprofessional. You're weaponizing your tears at that point. Yeah, and I would call them on it too and be like, you're weaponizing your tears.
Yeah. I mean, Carol didn't like what you said because you're holding her accountable for her actions. Right. That's Carol's business. She probably should go talk to her therapist about that.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'd probably say something slick like, are you in therapy? I could suggest one for you. But this is why I don't have a job now. So there's that part. I mean, every situation is different and delicate. There's a chessboard you have to play. But that's some of the language, like holding your boundaries, you do need to do that. I coach people and I tell people, don't state your boundary, just act according to your boundary. So, for example, I had wrote this article on LinkedIn about a time when I worked at Kellogg's and I was working for this guy named Joe. And then Joe's boss was Mark. And so Joe and Mark were two white dudes, typical white dudes, corporate America. And Mark was one of those newly minted senior directors. So he's a brand new senior director. And so he has something to prove. So he's telling us, you need to come into the office by 8 o'clock. Mind you, everybody else on the floor gets in between 9 and 9:30. But for whatever reason, we needed to be there because we needed to set the tone. We're Pringle team, blah, 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 team Pringles. And it snows. It snows, and I'm from Texas. I don't drive well in the snow or any bad weather because I'm from Texas. We don't know how to drive. So I spin out one morning, and this 18-wheeler almost smacks the crap out of me. And by the grace of God, I'm still here, right? So then I was like, I need to set a boundary. I need to let them know, like, when it's bad outside, I'm gonna put myself first, and I'm gonna put my safety first, and that I'm just gonna put my foot down. So I called this meeting with HR, Mark, and Joe. Child, Mark was like, well, have you got your car weatherized? Have you thought about moving to Battle Creek? Because I lived in Kalamazoo, which was about 20 miles of highway. So it was about 20 minutes away. Yeah, he was like, have you thought about moving closer to the office? You have to go out there and pressure test it. Like, you just can't look outside and think it's snowing just because you see a few flurries. Like, you have to get out there and try to drive, because a lot of times it just looks like it's bad and it's not. Sir. So I get out there and try and end up in a ditch. Then what? Right? Like, it was bad. And then the HR woman scolded me. And she was like, this is your problem, Felicia. You're all in, because I said, I don't feel like that's safe. I just want to feel safe. And this is your problem. This is about business. This isn't about how you feel. Like,
if you die, there's gonna be no business.
But it was like, they just did not care if I died. That is the takeaway. And
corporations, right?
But these are actual people. And the thing is, I was just saying, on certain days, I was just going to come in later. Most of the time, it's not snowing. Most of the time, it's not that bad. It's only a few days it's that bad. So it's not like I'm saying every day in the winter, I'm not coming into work. Like, that's not what I was saying. What I was saying was, I'm going to wait a little while. I'm going to let the traffic go. I'm going to come in about 9:30 like everybody else on the floor on 2 South. And you would think that I was asking for, another $50,000 in my check or something. Like, it was crazy to me. And the way that I was scolded like a child, and I was treated so inhumanely in that moment. And that's when I realized, like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And so shortly after, I ended up leaving and moving to Texas right before my mom died. But I just remember, like, wow, I shouldn't have said anything. I should have just did what I needed to do for myself, because then it wouldn't have been a thing.
That's actually, like, it's not that you didn't want to, like, miss the whole day of work. You just wanted to come in a little bit later. That was it.
Right.
For your safety.
And not even like later than my coworkers. Like, I wanted to come in at the same time that my coworkers came in. My other coworkers came in. Not like, it's not like I wanted to come in at noon.
Right.
An hour later than what he was dictating we needed to be in by.
Had to be there. Okay.
Because he was saying, you need to be here at 8. In order to get there at 8, now I'm on the road with school buses. I'm on the road with all the people commuting to get to work by 8. And so, and most people work 8 to, Michigan's pretty blue collar around those parts. So it's just like, most people are working 8 to 5. All the government workers, all that. So, like, I was just asking you to come in when the rest of the office actually came in. Like, we would be there at 8, and it would be us, and then the head guy, the big VP guy. But he was coming in because nobody would be in the office. Like, he wanted the peace and quiet. He didn't want us to be there.
That's funny.
But he was like, well, Roger's here at 7 every morning. Roger's here at 7. So we need to be here at 8. We need to set the tone for the rest of the team.
Like, yeah, Roger, because he don't want to be bothered.
Right. Like, when I tell you, if I ever see Mark again in my life, I will probably cuss him out. And I know I need to let it go. But it was just such a traumatic, like, it was so much happened during that time. And my mom was so sick. And so I'm dealing with a sick mom. I'm still grieving my grandma. I'm at this new job. You're now my third manager in like a year. And then it went from, I was doing good work. I was doing great things. I had a lot of autonomy because we were short staffed as a team, to now we're ramping up the team because y'all two are here now. And now I'm being treated like shit. When I was running things before, now everything I've done isn't good enough all of a sudden. It was a mind fuck.
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
That's a lot. You know what? I think you do the right thing too, because sometimes you do just have to leave. Like if your job is not creating a safe work environment for you, and you've, expressed like, I don't feel like this is safe for me, and they're not helping to change that, and they don't care about anything you got going on, your life, right? Yeah, you might have to just get up out of there. And I know, and especially right now, for a lot of people, like it's very hard for people to find jobs right now. I'm thinking it's our economy, just the state that it's in right now. People are having a tough time finding jobs. And when that happens, the second part of that is with the boundaries is you have to have self-care. You have to create a space outside of work for yourself that is safe, that is pouring back into you, especially if you cannot leave your job right away. Because what's going to happen is you're going to go every day. We spend a lot of time at work, right? Like you spend a majority of your time at work. Imagine spending that much time at your job and hating it. That's going to affect you. And so you need to create a safe space for yourself outside of work. Like religiously, you need to be engaging in self-care things to pour back into you, because the next day, like you got to go right back up to this place that you don't like and you're struggling to leave. So boundaries, self-care are like the two main things I would say for people, women in the workplace.
Yeah.
So
I need self-care from myself because I'm my own boss. So like,
see, now you're the entrepreneur level. And so you, I think it's harder because now you definitely have to figure out, okay, well, what is going to be my self-care time? Because now I get to dictate my entire schedule.
Yeah, so it's rough. It's rough. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk about that because a lot of us are going into entrepreneurship, but then also I want to talk about, what do we need to do to manage this stress? Like if there was one piece of advice outside of boundaries and self-care, what's the most important thing? Like if you could write a love letter to Black women, that's what we're going to talk about when we get back from the break. Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back.
Most important thing.
Hey guys, we're back. Shacolby, thank you so much. You have been a wealth of knowledge for me personally, so I want to share you with the world. I appreciate you for taking time out on your day off to talk to the people and share your knowledge. I think for you, if you had to write a love letter to Black women professionals and you had to say, hey, you need to know this is the most important thing, what would that be? You are the most important thing. And I tell people all the time, I know that might sound selfish, right? But you have to pour into yourself first. You have to. Mm-hmm. People are like, well, I have kids. Like, what about my kids? Your kids are important, but you're still the most important person, because if you don't pour 100% into yourself, what are you giving them? Mm-hmm. You are the most important person. Take care of yourself first. You do not have to carry everybody else's issues. Lay some of those down. Look at yourself and work on yourself. Go to therapy. Make sure that you stay hydrated, get your sleep, but, go to therapy, take care of yourself, make sure you're in spaces that you feel comfortable and safe and wanted at. So I think that's very important, especially when it comes to the workplace. Because sometimes, and I know for a lot of the ladies coming out of school, like we just want to grab a job really quickly. Be careful with that, because like that can set precedence to the rest of your career if you go and just grab the first place that comes to you, right?
getting in spaces where you feel comfortable, making sure that you are in spaces you feel comfortable, you feel respected, you feel needed, and like people want you there. But yeah, I think the most important thing is taking care of yourself first. Yeah. And then you can take care of everybody else once you at 100%. And that's what I think it kind of trickles down to you.
Yeah. I think, like, I know you tell me not to isolate and you tell me to get out, but I think sometimes that's what I'm trying to do when I'm isolating, is trying to figure out how to take care of myself, because I struggle with that. I've just been conditioned that I wasn't important and that everybody else was important. And so I had to make sure everybody around me was the more important, or, you know, taken care of or good. Like, even when I was a kid with my mom and my grandma, like, baby, grab me this, come get this, come get that, regardless of what I was doing at the time, you know, even those little things. And, you know, my mom and grandma, they didn't mean any harm, but I think just some of the ways I was socialized as a child trickles into now I'm an adult. And so trying to unpack all that and like break that down and figure out why I'm on a icy kick, a Coke icy kick, because I am. You know, I'm about to go get one after this. Like, it soothes my soul for some reason. And I'm okay with it for right now. Like, I'm like, you know, sometimes I just have to give it to myself and let myself have it so I can move forward and move past it, right? Some of those things that have me in my head and stuff. Mm-hmm. As an entrepreneur, though, you know, you pour so much into the business. Like, I haven't been on vacation in almost 2 years. It's almost been 2 years. The last vacation I took was the summer of 2022.
Did you go to Bali?
I went to Bali. Yeah, I went to Bali and Singapore, Jakarta. Like, that was an amazing trip and changed a lot of things for me. And even you encouraged me. Like, I started doing stand-up and all those things. And I just think that I'm trying not to cry.
So you're being honest and vulnerable, right? Go for it.
Yeah, I just think that being a Black woman right now is so hard. And a lot of people will sit there and be like, oh, you're claiming the victim. And I'm like, Black women, we can't even actually be the victims when we are. Like, we can't, like, we can't get nothing. We can't catch a break. Like, it's so many of us out here. And I mean, you just working hard, you pouring everything, you trying to figure it out, you hustling, you know, you trying to make it do what it do at work, you trying to learn the game, you trying to figure it out, and people are like not giving you information. Some things you have to create it. Mm-hmm. It's something new and you have to figure it out. You don't have all the resources. Like, there's a lot of Black women right now that are entrepreneurs and they bootstrapping the hell out of that company and they're bringing all kinds of value to the marketplace, and there's just no help. And it's just like, even when you ask for help, don't nobody help you. So it's and I feel all of that, you know, mm-hmm. and people want us to be concerned about, you know, the people in Palestine. And don't get me wrong, I am. I think I came to you one day in tears because I saw some shit on the internet, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. Like, forget all the propaganda in the US, the brass tacks. Like, there's these little kids and they are dead. Their heads are off their bodies. And y'all over here fighting for what again? And then you want me to say what and do what? Like, no, because their liberation is my liberation. And I think there's no other type of human that knows that more than Black woman. Mm-hmm. Until all of us are free, none of us are free. And I really do feel all that. Like, I feel it. I feel the weight of the world on me, and I feel helpless. I feel like, dang, I can't hardly help Black women. I can't fix the world. I can't, you know, and I just want peace.
Yeah.
I want people just to be able to breathe. Like, I want to feel the freedom of just being. Then I want everybody to just be, not be judged so harshly, not judge ourselves so harshly. And so, I'm trying to do the inner work to be at peace in myself first. But it's hard and it's a lot. And I do care a lot. I mean, I've spent so much money trying to make this thing work and for it hopefully to be profitable at some point. And I don't see it. How? Like, I don't see it, but I keep doing it because they'll end up being an email that I'll get. And somebody says, "Oh my God, I found your podcast and this helped me so much." And I'd be like, dang, I can't quit.
That's why this is important. You mentioned like feeling like hopeless and things like that, or not having help. And this is why these things are important, to create communities, because you're right. You are not the only one. You're talking to women who probably also feel the same way that you do right now. And creating safe spaces and communities for Black women is important. So that we can have these conversations, so somebody can know like, hey, it's not just me. Like, there's other women that look just like me that are going through the same thing. Because when we come together, we can find solutions that work. And so it's important whenever you do feel, things are not going my way. I'm struggling to get on board with what I need to do. I don't have any help. Find community. Yeah. Find a community of people that are doing the same things that you're doing, or trying to do the same things that you're doing, or have done what you're trying to do. And go talk to those people. Go pick their brains, become, I don't want to say friends, but like acquaintances with those people. Right. Everybody not your cup of tea. Everybody not everybody. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn from people. Right. So when you're feeling that stress and just like you don't have nowhere to go, find community. Find a community of people who are on the same level, are thinking and doing the same things that you're trying to do. And keep coming to therapy, of course.
Yes.
For sure. But I think what you're doing here is great. Like, being a Black woman in a corporate workspace is difficult. It can be very hard. A lot of depression, anxiety that people are not identifying as such. We're just angry, right? Like, we angry for no reason. And that's just not the case. And so I think that you are helping a lot of people navigate those worlds. And I hope you keep doing it. I really do. You have the personality. And I know I tell you this all the time, but I think you will be successful because you just have that personality. Like, I feel like you could talk to a brick wall.
I can.
I know.
I talk to myself all the time.
Yep. If I saw you talking to a brick wall, because I just think that you are a people person. Like, you know how to talk to people.
Yeah, I have the gift of gab. I've always had it since I was a kid. They called us gifted talkers. We were gifted and talented. They were like gifted talkers, the whole class. And that's how I grew up. So no, I'm not going to quit. I just, I recognize if I'm frustrated, I know other people out there are frustrated. And I just want people to know they aren't alone, because I think a lot of times I've felt alone, and then I'll like talk to somebody and I'll be like, oh wait, you feel that way too? Like, and that's when I start feeling like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. Because that was my biggest thing when I was working. Like, okay, am I crazy? Like, this is me. Like, I would always put the onus on me, and I always felt like it was my fault when things were going wrong and all these things. But at a certain point, I started to realize like it take two. So I may be doing some things wrong, but also
everything can't be your fault. Like, it can't be everything.
Right. This is some bullshit.
That's why it's important to go out and talk to other people, because you'll be surprised. Like, other people are either in your position right then and there, or they've been in that position already. And that's where you find your help at, is like minds of people just like you, trying to do the same thing. So please don't quit. Please keep going.
I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. Okay, Shacolby, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you. Are you taking new clients in Texas?
Yes, I am seeing new clients. So one through private practice for myself through Alma. You can find me on the I think it's helloalma.com website. And then also Ellie Mental Health Bel Air, which is a franchise, but I work at the one in Bel Air doing in-person and telehealth therapy during the day.
And it's Elemental Bel Air?
Ellie Mental Health Bel Air.
Ellie, the ELLIE.
Yes. We have multiple locations too, right? So like if it ain't Bel Air, that's not where I'm at.
Okay.
So I'm at the Bel Air location. Come over there.
Okay. So you can reach you through Ellie Mental Health and Alma, the app.
Yes.
There they can find you, Shacolby Dedmond. We'll also put your email in the show notes so people can email you about your private practice and if they need help. But they have to be a Texas resident, correct?
Yes, and you don't have to live in Houston unless you wanted to do in person. But I do telehealth, so it could literally be anywhere in Texas.
Okay.
So yes, come see me, guys.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shacolby. Please come back to the show anytime you want to and you have something you want to talk about mental health and Black women professionals.
Yes, thank you for having me. So anytime you want, let me know. I like to talk.
Okay.
Thank you, Felicia. Y'all have a good day.
Bye. Well, guys, that's a wrap on another great episode of the Career Management Podcast for Black women. Yes, girl, this show is just for you. We're here to tell you how to play that chessboard at work, girl. So subscribe, comment, like, follow us on social media at Trill MBA Show. Listen, every time you tell one of your friends, you share this information, you share this podcast, it helps us to grow and make even more dope content just for you, unapologetically. That's why we're here. Now, if you are facing a workplace dilemma, such as a performance improvement plan, or you're not able to secure your promotion and raise that you have worked for and you have deserved, basically, if these people are playing in your face, we are here to help. Go to trillmba.com/coaching to schedule a one-time one-on-one call to workshop your specific dilemma with me. Or schedule a consult to get more information about the consulting packages that I do offer on a longer term basis. As always, you can reach out to us with your listener letters and your questions at trillmba.com. Until next time, guys, focus on your best possible outcome. Ask for help when you need it. Please, please, please ask for help. And as always, keep it trill. I'll see y'all next week.